I have been investigating who uses the Open University blog tool, why the Open University and other providers of online or blended learning might provide a blog tool within their virtual learning environment, what learners use the blog for, or what reasons they give for not using the blog tool, how blogging might be effectively promoted to learners and become a better and more useful resource. As distance learning continues to grow and opportunities for technology-enhanced reflection, collaboration and peer review become more and more innovative, the future of the blog could be cemented or otherwise. I personally found the blog tool very early in my Open University journey, a mere week after beginning my first module. Since then, at the time of recording, I've blogged an additional 125 times and had over 38,000 views. I use many ways to contact people to write this paper. Social media such as Facebook and Twitter were an obvious first port of call and a way I used to channel people towards an online survey which I created to collect data. I made great use of online chat rooms and I've been part of with my fellow OU students from this module and previous ones. I've been in several in-depth email conversations too, and of course I've contacted people through the Open University tools, including the blog tool. My research involved an analysis of a sample of public OU blog posts surveying OU students past and present, and more in-depth communication with learners, tutors and Open University VLE design and oversight staff. In the left-hand side of your student homepage there is this toolbox. One of the links takes you to your personal blog. Please raise your hand if you have regularly clicked this link in your OU journey so far. For those of you who have had, you will know that when you click on it, you arrive at this page where you can write blog posts, include tags, links, see other people's posts, set individual privacy preferences, and make and read comments. I can see that a few of you have used the blog tool, but not many, and this doesn't surprise me because every indication I can find suggests that use of this tool is low. I must emphasise that I only have data for public blog posts, so there may be more private posts, but whichever way you look at it, this data suggests that a maximum of 1 in 3 students publish even a single post publicly using this tool. This pie chart represents data from an analysis I made of the authors of all the public blog posts in 2019. The largest sector, the purple one, which represents almost 3/4 of the bloggers in my sample, are the bloggers who only posted one time on the platform. The next biggest section, the blue one, represent bloggers who only posted twice. Of course, not all bloggers stop so early. This pie chart represents the number of posts made in 2019. The single post bloggers still account for around 1/3 of the posts made, but the dark green section is all the work of one prolific blogger. And the red section here is me. There are many reasons to blog. It can be a great informational communication tool. Bloggers can post information about assignments or upcoming events. Bloggers can use their blog to store things, to store notes, links, plans and handouts. It's an online filing cabinet. As a collaborative tool, blogs can be really useful because bloggers can converse within their course and communities and outside of it. And similarly, it's a great place to review, share and discuss papers or books or other literature. In fact, you can use the blog to talk about almost any subject at all. It can be great in professional development because you can use your blog as an e-portfolio. It's an archived discussion of your practice, formal and informal. And it's really good because it's an interactive electronic journal and where bloggers can practice writing, but also post completed works to an authentic audience. This list isn't comprehensive, but it covers most of the areas I found within my literature search and my primary research. A small number of people had positive things to say about blogging. Reflection was mentioned, as was academic journaling. Several of the areas in the previous slide were directly or indirectly mentioned. There's lots of good pedagogical reasons to reflect, discuss, store artifacts or collaborate. So blogging can actually be a way to achieve all of these things. Whilst the focus of my Open University study on blogs is the capacity to enhance reflection and academic journaling and student collaboration, I acknowledge that there are many more ways in which blogging may enhance learning. Two key theoretical positions for my study are reflective practice and social constructivism. For those of you who don't blog, you are not alone. In my networking, I heard a number of valid reasons for not using this tool or not blogging at all. Not knowing it was even an option was very common. There was uncertainty about what it was for or how it could offer any benefit. People felt that the function of the blog significantly overlapped the function of other tools. A few people had tried it and found it unhelpful or just another chore. One Open University employee, who will remain nameless, worked as a tutor for 5 years before even realising it was a thing. Several people commented that blogging was an extra task which didn't add value to their studies. This seems valid given that the Open University Toolbox also offers us forums and Open Studio, and that there are other tools which offer facilities for personal reflection and collaboration. It's worth considering the unique appeal of the blog though. A blog can record your personal, lifelong learning. It belongs to you, and your interaction with it is not limited by time or other people, and your journey is recorded in one place. It only has one function: recording your learning journey for as long as you wish it to, in exactly the way that you wish it to. I contacted various Open University staff who've been involved in the design of the virtual learning environment and in learning design of various Open University courses. They explained some of the rationale behind providing the blog tool and some insight as to why usage might not be very high. As my correspondents noted, there are many tools available through the Open University which offer similar benefits to the blog, and many other blog services which offer more functionalities than the tool within the virtual learning environment. I analysed all of the public blog posts from 2019 using a random sample. I classified each post into 5 main post types. This was quite an arbitrary activity, as defining where journaling began or reflection ended was not always straightforward, and I had to make a lot of judgment calls. The most common were personal journal posts, where activities were simply reported without comment or analysis. The subject matter may be the weather, family matters, a fitness kick, or holidays. Next most common were personal reflections, where people engaged in more soul-searching about their lives and situations. Academic reflection is, I think, the type of the post the university would most like to see students writing, taking their studies onwards in journeys of thought and applying theory to their individual context. This sort of reflective practice is widely encouraged. Academic activities were posts where the student had clearly been required to blog as part of their studies, often resentfully. And finally is the academic journal, where TMI ideas, summaries of papers or lecture notes are written without real additional comment, the filing cabinet as it were. There were other blog posts which defy classification, and I realise my analysis is subjective in many ways. I hope it gives you a reasonable idea of what goes on in the OU blog space though. Although my survey respondents reported using the OU blog for collaboration, my research did not support this. Only about 1 in 5 posts had any comment at all, and even fewer of those were anything which could be described as a thread. As I said, there was some resentment at any requirement to use the Open University blog tool provided, but bear in mind there are some stories like this. This person was required to use the blog as a study activity. But then she started using it for academic collaboration as part of an Open University collaboration, and also now with inter-university collaboration. And she also keeps a different blog for personal reflection. And no, she wouldn't have done it otherwise. Sometimes an unpopular activity can trigger behaviours which turn into ongoing independent learning routines. Maybe one point of formal learning is to instill lifelong learning habits. A repeated comment from people who've used the blog tool is that it lacks functionality. This is also acknowledged by VLE designers and OU staff I spoke to. For blogging to be useful for collaboration, a feature enabling people to subscribe is useful, as is the comments section, which clearly allows replies and threads. In this way, the Open University blog tool is inferior to a service like WordPress, which is free for learners but not embedded in a toolbox. The tool does not have the same features as other platforms people are familiar with using. It doesn't have hashtags like Twitter or Instagram. It doesn't enable private groups and chats like Facebook. I'm far too old for Pinterest, but apparently Open Studio is based on it. I expect Pinterest is a little easier to manage though. The OU blog tool is described as a walled garden by Martin Weller. Whilst this is a benefit to many new bloggers who may appreciate a less public platform, it does also make the blog harder to find for everyone. Martin, when asked about the future of the blog tool, suggested that directing students to an external blog provider may be preferable to developing the existing tool. Why reinvent the wheel after all? And finally, the Open University blog tool is available to Open University students. When you cease to be a student with the Open University, you lose access. Certainly you lose access to continue contributing. If you study with the Open University for a decade, you face losing, well, a decade's worth of reflection, collaboration, journaling, and your filing cabinet. If it is decided that the blog is a worthwhile part of the Open University toolkit, then here's a few suggestions I would make. Make it more visible. Students should be aware of the tool, and tutors really should be. People may choose to use it or choose not to use it, but being unaware means that's not really a choice. Whether the aim is to allow reflection or collaboration, or both, there needs to be more functionality, such as making the post more customizable and searchable. If the aim is collaboration, then more options for comments, threads, and the creation of blog communities is imperative. In general, a few more tools, bells and whistles would be welcome. And finally, access to the blog tool for continued use should be standard. Loss of a learning journal should not coincide with the end of association with a particular institution, because after all, learning is not institutional specific. It's hopefully a lifelong habit. Here are my references.